discussing, there's a lot of learning in when not to do something, what are the reasons, what are the things that we really can do, and when is the time to say, well, this is not fit for an endoscopic treatment, we should offer something different. So this is our actually first time as well in our unit, and I think I'll give credit to everybody who was involved, especially because I'm a little handicapped because of my foot injury. So we have learned a lot during this in terms of organization. And remember, we have been doing, this is our 4th continuous day, consecutive day that we are doing live cases. We did EUS course where we did almost 30 plus EUSs. And so obviously everybody is, I can see, is exhausted as well. So before we end the day, what I was thinking was we will show you a quick clip of the basket that got stuck, please. Foreign, that's interesting. नासिर आप चाय पियोगे?
So the case that I'm about to show you is also a pretty interesting situation, you could say. One second, let me. So this is basically a middle-aged male patient. He had history of abdominal pain and weight loss, and sorry. So he's a middle-aged male patient with history of abdominal pain and weight loss. He's a diagnosed case of chronic pancreatitis, and he's had a pancreatic stent in place. He was in the initial pancreatogram, as you can see, it's a very dilated pancreatic duct, and there are multiple filling defects that you can see within the duct. And these are pretty large filling defects. So the initial the ERCP that was done, simply a stent was placed, and the patient responded very well to it. The patient was then called back eventually so we could tackle the PD stones. Now, I would like to ask the audience how you would approach such a case. What interventions do you think would be useful in a case like this? Or the faculty could comment. Large pancreatic duct stones.
Could be removed or not?
They couldn't be. On the initial ERCP, just a sphincterotomy was done and a stent was placed. And then the ultimate plan was to clear the duct from stones. So what would be the approach that you would like to go with?
And there's no contrast going beyond that?
There was, but this was the clearest picture that I could get of all the stones, but the contrast is going well into the beyond the vertebra.
So it's just stones are out, so stones.
Yeah.
And they're mobile stones.
They are mobile. So anybody want to comment? Remove with what? Balloon, basket, spyglass.
So balloon is a problem with pancreatic stones. They're pretty hard, they're quite often spiky, and the balloon goes away very quickly. So you'll be very lucky if you're going to take it. The balloon will go, but the stones are likely to come out. But
Can,
it may.
can you show that again,
Sure.
please, the image? So if you talked about the sphincteroplasty, what size balloon would you use there? What do you think? 8 to 10 based on what? Why? Because of this
Dilated pancreatic. This part of the duct is pancreatic apparently.
How do you guess the size? That's what he's asking. I mean, why did you say 10 to 12 or 12 to 14? Why did you say
As compared to this
scope?
scope, yeah.
So you looked at the scope and you compare that size.
Yeah.
So 180
You're 190.
मैं presentation की बात नहीं करूँगी।
diameter.
क्या है कॉफी है शायद?
12.0.
कॉफी है।
Like this is a different diameter right here.
Yeah.
This is a different diameter. ये कितना है?
This is 12, I think 12.
Anybody else want to guess? It's a 11.3. ठीक है? ये कितना है? 13.5. ठीक है? तो अब मेनली जब हम वो कर रहे हैं इसका जरा मुश्किल हो जाता है तो कंपेयर विद दिस द shaft. तो 11.3 है ये कितना है? ऑलमोस्ट उतनी लगी है 1 मिलीमीटर कम होगी या कितना क्या ख्याल है आपका? Pancreatic duct. So based on that, that's how we decide.
Okay.
So,
So
but the other comment I'll just make is there's only so much we get from dilation.
Yeah.
The pancreatic orifice is always going to be small. It's not like the bile duct. We will never get that orifice to be as big as we get bile ducts to be. So
Especially in patients who've got
chronic pancreatitis. So I would argue you don't need to go big. If your goal is just to put a stent in for today, you could even just do a 4 or 6 millimeter if you really want.
Okay, if you just want to put a stent, then the question is you would not have it.
Yeah, but even if you're attempting to remove these stones, would you go up to 8? I would.
I think looking at this size of stone, I mean, you start questioning, to be
Right.
honest. But the thing is, because this is not dynamic, the tempting thing is when you see the stone moving. That's what actually tilts you to removing the stone in pancreatic duct because you can see it moving. So you have the other options like ESWL or spyglass, whatever. But currently, this is what if I have to take these stones out, I'll use the trapezoid plastic. So
After
press it.
sphincteroplasty.
Huh?
After sphincteroplasty.
I probably
So now I think I would do a
sphincteroplasty to करेंगे, but I think probably my sphincteroplasty would go a little bit higher than yours. I would go to 12, looking at the size of the duct. But then 10 and 12 में इतना ही सा फर्क है. Stone is big. You see, look at the size of the stone. It's almost the size of the dilated duct.
Yeah.
So your stone is quite big here, right? And so basket dilatation followed by basket. I think I call it up basically. But I wouldn't attempt taking these out with balloon because हमारा cost effectiveness का बड़ा मसला है. तो आप try कर सकते हैं. Maybe you're lucky, but if you lose a balloon that's now 35,000-40,000 rupees, I don't know how much.
Yeah, especially when they are well formed stone, they are fine. ठीक है? अगर वो
Khalid, I'll be very honest with you. In our practice, I don't use balloon for pancreatic stones at all.
बहुत फटते हैं और ऐसा अच्छा इतना जो सही फिट स्टोन है उसके लिए बास्केट को खोल के पकड़ आना.
Actually, they're mobile stones. That's what I'm telling you. That you don't have the dynamic picture. Stone is not stuck there.
we do have the video.
So, but you will see अगर देख लें अगर नजर आए.
So this was what we had planned.
I didn't do this case, but I think I would have done what was done. But I probably wouldn't have done what eventually was done. For sure.
Sorry, one second. There's one missing. Okay. Well, the patient had a sphincteroplasty done, and ultimately we did put in a basket. So the reason for showing this is what do you do in a situation where your basket gets stuck
In the pancreatic duct.
in the pancreatic duct?
So what would you do? And you should not start the ERC, right? Like to begin with. So have to have some sort of plan because that can happen. And if
I'm saying is, spyglass is easy to say.
How do you do it? Well,
Not very easy to get into a basket stuck in pancreatic. CVD is different. Pancreatic duct is different. So obviously, if someone is with the volume and expertise of Khalid Mustafa, it's different. If somebody like me, I don't think I'm not sure I'll be able to do it. So
So
दोनों की जो है इनसे मिला के करना है.
So this is interesting. But what was done is,
what did you guys do?
okay. Any other options?
But ordinarily, what would you do without the?
You don't have a spyglass. What would you do?
No, but other than that, there is an emergency lithotripsy.
Like everybody who's using a basket
should know about it, right? Emergency lithotripsy is an option. Okay, so you have that. There are a couple of types that are available, and that is something that I think if you're going to use basket, one of the messages from this is that you should have that always. So if we are doing something like Dr. Basar ne kahna, if we are going in for something where we might get stuck, we need to have methods to actually get out of it. Whatever is available. And if we fail completely, then of course we have no option, we'll call Sadhana. But if we don't use all the options, then we will be criticized here. If you went for it, why didn't you have those options? So for basket, I think you should have an emergency lithotripsy. You will never probably use it. Mujhe use kiye hue, I don't know how long it's been. But we also have another device in our center, so go ahead and show us.
we attempted ABC.
Cutting the back.
So we cut the basket. They cut the basket with the ABC.
Where is the stomach or do you?
This is in the duodenum, and you can actually see the wire snapping. Yes, it's actually been reported in a couple of case reports, but you can see that the wire actually snapped after the ABC. If I can just
I tell you, this is something that I would not have even thought of. So I'll be honest.
मैं दिखाती हूँ.
The gentleman who did it, we'll share the name.
So the APC settings that we actually followed, which is something worth discussing, is that usually APC, when done in like mucosal lesions I gave, we keep the settings at 2 liters, and the power is usually 35 joules. And that could be manipulated, and this actually worked in 2 liters and 35 joules. But then eventually the rest of the wires were just not cutting, and I've just kept it very brief. We went to raise the settings. Now this was kept at 120 joules, and it was maintained at around 4 liters. And these were isolated case reports that we were watching while the procedure was happening, but the patient was very safe, so it snapped. It worked.
It worked in the basket. And the person who did it is sitting there, Dr. Alex. Sachi baat hai. When I saw it, I said, how did you think about it? So SEMS ka, yes, but unhone SEMS se, to think about it. So, you need to keep thinking about outside the box, and sometimes, especially when you're stuck, thinking outside. I don't know how many cases have been reported in the literature of basket stuck and cut.
Just 3 that Dr. Asim and I were looking at the
So,
time.
any with the video or no, not with the video?
With the pancreatogram?
No, those cases.
Oh, there was one with the video, and they also just showed the 2 seconds in which it actually snapped, and they talked about how the electrocautery settings were manipulated throughout the procedure, and this is what we were trying to do.
When was that published?
2015, 18, not after.
And in general?
I can't remember.
So you should send this to video GI.
Definitely.
Definitely. I think you should send it.
So,
So-
there was a question asked yesterday about how many sessions of ESWL does it take for pancreatics or any stones to actually dissolve. So in this case, the patient was referred for an ESWL, and I'll give you a quick reminder. These were the initial stones, and after 2 sessions of ESWL, the duct had completely cleared. This is my balloon shadow in the bottom. So just after 2 sessions, the response was good.
The ESWL we have, and I know the site is obviously. HWL machine that we had is actually more useful for the pancreatic stone. So it actually has been very, very good in our cases. We've now done, how many cases have we done? How many sessions,
sir,
how many cases have we done?
60 patients को already कर चुके हैं, लेकिन more than 100 sessions, more than 200 sessions हो चुके हैं. Yes.
Pancreatic stones.
Yes.
So we are actually, following these, we're keeping the data, and hopefully once we have decent size numbers, we will actually write our experience. But for now, you have that option available. We will be, the best thing is that it's free. I mean, कल हमने एक patient किया है, मैं WL का बताऊँ ना आपको. There's a patient, I don't have the pictures here, but I have them here. It was done elsewhere in another province, and they could not pass beyond the stone. So it was a question of doing USPT. They attempted that and they couldn't do it. And so they wanted us to do it here in the workshop, and we had a chat and we said, why don't we do ESWL first to break those stones and see whether that would be much more simpler than actually going in for more advanced technique. We are ready for Dr. Khalid's talk.
Dr. Khalid's talk, and we also have Dr. Mustafa's
We have Mustafa, so let's
Yes.
first see
let's
that.
do
And then because Khalid talks it, then we can end.
Sir, Aggressive.
Mustafa, you were doing the thing.
Let me just.
Just about plastic stents, if you want to. Actually, ये बड़ी जाती है इन लोगों के साथ, because if you're not doing it and doing it not very often, then it's not fair. If you going and working in another endoscopy suite, although they are part of our international faculty, and but like the ERBI that was used today, it actually arrived only 12, 15 days ago. So today was the
Simultaneously
first time
दोनों
that
चला
it
सकते हो?
was used. Okay. The QG 850
किस order में
system
है?
arrived
Order में है
3 days ago.
तीनों.
So we are actually, I haven't even looked at those yet. So थोड़ा सा हमारा उसकी वजह से drawback, लेकिन इन लोगों के लिए फारूक, Khalid and Mustafa के लिए to be fair, because you're not in your own environment makes a lot of difference. They're doing difficult cases in a different environment. We try and give them whatever possible, but obviously you can't replace or reproduce the environment they are used to. So with that in mind,
मैं एक एक करके भी कर सकता हूँ, मुझे मसला नहीं है, तो हो जाएगा. टॉक नहीं दिखानी थी, वीडियो दिखानी है.
सर वीडियो भी साइड में दूसरी वाली साइड. अच्छा आपको दोनों वीडियोस
नहीं वो कह रही थी दोनों, लेकिन ज़रूरी नहीं है. सिर्फ वीडियो करते हैं.